Warning: this video could be considered disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. You are now within minutes of horror, because in this video, we are going to be talking about a different kind of crime. Instead of a serial killer, this video is about serial sexual assault, not against the living, but against the dead. On August 19th, 1982, David Steffen, posing as a door-to-door salesman, burst into the home of 19-year-old Karen Range, whereupon he beat up the teenager, stuffed a rag in her mouth, and slashed her throat with a paring knife with such force he nearly decapitated her. Steffen eventually pleaded guilty to murdering Range and said he also attempted to sexually assault her, but he swore up and down he never actually completed the sexual aspect of the crime, as he had issues getting an erection. Investigators initially did not believe Steffen, since a medical examiner found semen inside and all over the victim's body. In 1983, an Ohio court found David Steffen guilty of first-degree murder and sexual assault, and sentenced him to be executed. For the next quarter century, Steffen fought the sexual assault conviction, hoping to get off death row. 25 years later, DNA technology would prove, to the shock of investigators, that the killer was telling the truth. Steffen got a huge break in 2008 after his attorneys convinced a judge to order a DNA test on the semen in question, using technology that was previously unavailable. The process revealed a second horror that befell Karen Range on the very day she was slaughtered. The fluid actually came from Kenneth Douglas, a married father of 4 who had worked in the Hamilton County morgue for 16 years. The DNA matched a sample taken from Douglas earlier in 2008 after he had been busted for drugs. Investigators found out that he indeed had sex with Range's remains. Douglas admitted to removing Range's body from storage about 4 hours following its delivery, whereupon he got drunk, smoked crack, and said he did remember removing her from the freezer in order to have sex with her. Douglas got 3 years in jail for gross abuse of a corpse. Eventually, Douglas confessed to sexually violating more than 100 dead bodies during his 16 years on the job. The Hamilton County morgue first hired Kenneth Douglas in 1976. He worked at night and said he regularly consumed copious amounts of alcohol during his shift. Come the 80s, Douglas added crack cocaine to the mix. He claimed that the combination prompted him to start sexually abusing cadavers that were awaiting autopsies. As Douglas himself put it, "I would just get on top of them and pull my pants down." Douglas had unfettered access to dead bodies until leaving his morgue job in 1992. All the while, his wife suspected he was up to no good. She regularly picked him up from work and described him as reeking of alcohol and sex. At one point, Pat Douglas, Kenneth's wife, telephoned his supervisor to say she believed her husband was getting drunk and high at the morgue. The supervisor reportedly responded, "Whatever happens on county time and on county property is county business," completely dismissing Kenneth's wife. That quote would come back to haunt not just the supervisor, but a number of Ohio officials. In 2012, Douglas pleaded guilty to sexually desecrating the bodies of April Hicks, who had fallen from a high window, and Charlene Appling, who was 6 months pregnant when she was strangled to death. 2 years later, the families of Douglas's victims sued Hamilton County. The supervisor's ignorant comment about county business figured profoundly in the case, as did Douglas's videotaped deposition, wherein he came clean about his scores of sickening atrocities. After taking huge heat for fighting the lawsuits, Hamilton County settled with the families of the victims in 2015. The following year, the state of Ohio cleared David Steffen of sexually assaulting Karen Range and commuted his death sentence to life without the possibility of parole. He agreed to file no more appeals. Kenneth Douglas, now 62, is out of prison and by all known accounts is keeping a low profile. This was such an odd true crime case to talk about, There are so many actual scary people in this world that they make ghost and haunted houses look like Sesame Street. Thank you all so much for watching. My next video will be about the paranormal, a very mysterious UFO and alien case actually documented by the government. You won't want to miss that, so please subscribe and hit that notification button so my channel does not become a corpse as well. Thank you all once again.